This video is going to be in English. It will be about talking about the future in Norwegian. It's going to be in English because it's primarily an important concept to understand for beginners. However, if you are more advanced, please stick with me until the end here, because I will also talk about alternative ways to talk about the future, as well as additional meanings of the verb skal. But real quick, before we start, if you have other topics you want me to cover in future videos, please let me know by leaving a suggestion down below in the comments. And I do explanatory videos, both in English and in Norwegian, depending on the topic. And I also do more intermediate advanced videos, which are only in Norwegian. But let's get into Vil and Skal. So we basically have the word will in English. This can be two different words in Norwegian, depending on the subject. So we'll get into that. So we have will in English, and we also have vil in Norwegian, but we also have skal. So when do we use which word? So initially, I'll tell you about skal. So skal is the word we use when we refer to plans, okay? And plans are, by definition, things we control. So we use skal for things we control. Jeg skal se film I kveld. I will watch a movie tonight. It's a plan that you have. It's something you control. Vi skal spise middag snart. We will eat dinner soon, also within our control, right, to eat. I morgen skal jeg jobbe. It's a plan you have to go to work. I will work. Okay, we use skal. We also have vil. However, you need to be careful with vil. I'll explain why. So vil always means want when the subject is capable of wanting something. So when the subject is capable of having a desire, it means want. So for example here, jeg vil spise. Jeg, by definition, is a person. A person has the capacity to want something, to have a desire. Therefore, vil is automatically understood to mean want. So if you say, jeg vil spise, it means I want to eat. Same with han. If we're referring to a human, we automatically understand this to mean want in Norwegian. So han vil lære norsk. He wants to learn Norwegian. Mannen vil dra til Spania. Mannen is a subject, the man, who can have a desire. Therefore, we understand vil as want. The man wants to go to Spain. Mannen vil dra til Spania. So vil number 2 here. This is where vil is actually the same as will in English. We can set this up in a sentence whenever we refer to involuntary actions or events. So that means things over which the subject is not in control. So det vil regne I morgen. Here, vil doesn't mean want anymore because det, it, is not a person. Det is simply a grammatical subject. So here, vil means the same as will in English. Sommeren vil komme. The summer cannot have a desire. It cannot have a plan, so it's not a problem here to use a vil. Du vil bli bedre av medisinen. So notice here we're talking about a human, but you will get better from the medicine. This is referring to a process over which a person doesn't have control. Taking a medicine sets things in motion, which you don't really control, basically. So here you can also use vil. Du vil bli bedre. Og når du I skogen, vil du høre mange fugler og se mange trær. Okay, so når du I skogen, vil du høre mange fugler og se mange trær. You will hear many birds and see many trees. So hearing and seeing the trees it's not up to you, because if you walk in the forest, you won't have a choice to hear all those things and see all those trees. So it's something you essentially don't control. Thus, we can use vil in this sentence, and it means the same as will. Skal can also have additional meanings. Most notably, it many times means be supposed to, or shall, or even should sometimes. So here is when skal is not a future, as you can see. So, hvordan skal jeg leve uten deg? How am I supposed to live without you? Hva skal jeg gjøre hvis det brenner? What am I supposed to do in case of fire? Barna skal være I seng klokka 9. The kids shall be in bed at 9 o'clock. So this often has emphasis, especially if it's this shall. So you will come across skal very often without it meaning will, as in the future. And this is for the more, a little bit more advanced learners. A couple of examples here where we have ambiguity. So if you see this sentence in the middle, jeg vil sovne, I want to fall asleep. This is something you can say, and it can be understood to mean both I want to fall asleep and I'm going to fall asleep. So it might be that you need to use a more clear expression to avoid the ambiguity of whether it means desire or future. So a very important phrasal verb you need to know, if you don't know it already, is ha lyst til. Jeg har lyst til å sovne. This can only mean desire, so there's no ambiguity there. Otherwise, if you want to say something that is not ambiguous about the future, you can use komme til. Jeg kommer til å sovne. That's similar to going to. Jeg kommer til å sovne. Sometimes also when we make predictions in sports, here, for example, we have an example of a football team, Manchester City. This being a group of players, a group of human beings, they can certainly have the desire to win, but could also be that we're just making the prediction. So Manchester City will vinne. So in order to make that more clear in either direction, you can use, again, Manchester City har lyst til å vinne if you want to talk about the desire, or you can talk about komme til if you want to express the future. Thus, you avoid the ambiguity. So I hope this video was useful for you and that you have some more clarity around vil and skal if you didn't already have it. It's a very essential concept to understand when you want to formulate future tense sentences in Norwegian. So if you like the video, please go ahead and press, this button, which you see like kind of in this area down here. Du skal trykke like. No, I'm just kidding. You are not supposed to, but if you liked it, please go ahead and do it. Also down below, there's a comment section. So if you have any questions about this, please go ahead and ask the questions. That's all for me for today, and see you again for another video.